The methods for building muscle are well documented: consistent resistance training, the right nutrition, and typically supplementing where needed. What's rarely discussed is what that growth signal means over a lifetime. Stimulated again and again through certain foods, protein-dense meals, and animal sources in particular, what might it do to the body's youthfulness, and is there a more holistic way to see it? Sources suggest the same pathway that drives muscle may also influence how the body ages, which leaves a question worth sitting with. Can both be optimized together, and why might that matter? Perhaps because the real aim is a healthy physiological life. To understand why, it helps to start with a signal. Firstly, it is understood that amino acids, particularly leucine and methionine, act as more than building blocks. Sources suggest they function as signals of abundance. When they're plentiful, they seem to activate the mTOR pathway and prompt the liver toward more IGF-1. IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, is essentially the messenger that carries out growth hormones' instructions, telling cells to divide, repair, and build. In healthy adults, it remains useful for recovery and maintaining tissue within context. However, there's more to it. The consideration sources tend to raise is one of duration rather than presence. When the signal rarely switches off, chronically high IGF-1 has been associated with blunted apoptosis, which is the body's programmed clearing of worn or faulty cells, and with slower cellular cleanup overall, leaving an environment in which damaged cells may more readily persist, which is related to body aging and the potential for carcinogenic environment. The point of interest isn't leucine itself. Leucine is necessary for building muscle. What the sources tend to highlight instead is balance, the difference between a controlled, earned pulse and a signal that rarely switches off. And this once again comes back to the role of balance in holistic sciences. All things lead back to balance. The aim isn't to suppress growth signaling, but to let it mirror real demand. And nutrition, more than anything else within our control, is what scales it up or down. The literature indicates that certain dietary habits, like frequently snacking or eating a diet consisting of high animal protein sources, can disrupt this hormonal rhythm. There's a rhythm in how the body operates. After intense training, muscle draws actively on amino acids for repair, so a rise in leucine has somewhere useful to go. That's the key. Resistance training sensitizes muscle and increases its uptake, making it a demand sink that pulls incoming leucine in for repair and protein synthesis. Without that stimulus, the same post-meal leucine still rises in the blood, but has less of a destination, the spillover. In the hours without food, the signal falls and the body shifts toward autophagy, its recycling and cleanup state. Across the literature, it's chronic elevation, a steady drip of protein through the day, that appears to keep the growth signal switched on, with animal proteins and caloric excess among the stronger drivers of IGF-1. So habits like frequent high-protein meals, repeated whey or amino acid supplements, or simply eating beyond energy needs, when they become the constant rather than the exception, may carry unintended repercussions over time. This may be where whole plant foods are worth considering. Because their amino acids sit within a fiber matrix, absorption tends to be more gradual, a steadier release rather than a flood. Diets built on whole plant foods have been measured with meaningfully lower circulating IGF-1 than animal-based ones. That needn't be read as a deficiency. It could equally be read as calibration, enough to maintain and repair without holding the system in a constant state of growth. Seen holistically, the question may be less about more or less, and more about the right signal at the right time, and what happens when it's allowed to rest, or does it need to? Both growth and cellular maintenance matter. As a matter of physiology, growth hormone is set by the hypothalamus and released in pulses by the pituitary, rising with deep sleep, fasting, and hard training, while IGF-1 is produced by the liver in response to that hormone and shaped by nutrition, chiefly the amount and source of protein, total energy intake, and insulin status. So rather than suppressing growth, the holistic aim is simply to let the signal track genuine demand. And of the inputs within our control, diet is the most direct influence on that IGF-1 arm, a balance that appears to matter most for healthy adults in middle age. Based on individual suitability and health status. Subscribe. Go deeper with holistic high-performance health.